the Philistine guards of the Philistine army camp, and whilst his father with 600 soldiers, and that's the whole Jewish army, are on some other hilltop on the other side, and they don't know what's happening. Okay, so we climbed up the cliff. Yonasan attacks the guys, and his armor bearers finishes them off. That's what we got up to. The end of Pasuk Gimel. Pasuk Dalet. Vatihi. Elias, you got it? Page 36?
Yeah, I'm on it.
3 lines from the bottom. It's Shmuel Aleph, chapter 14. Vatihi, and it was. Vatihi is feminine. Right? Vayihi, and it was masculine. Vatihi, and she was. What was? Hamaka, the strike. So a strike is a feminine noun. You can see it ends in comments. Hey, so that's why the strike, Harishon, the first attack of Yonasan and his armor bearer, Ashehika, that Yonasan and his armor bearer struck. Hika is the verb. So the first strike that Yonasan and his armor bearer struck was Ke'esrim ish, approximately 20 people.
Oh, it's not.
So there's just the 2 of them, and they struck down, probably killed, that means, as we said, Yonasan hit them, so they became unconscious, or almost dead, and his armor bearer took his sword and chopped his head off, or stabbed him through the heart, or wherever it was. Okay?
Harosh.
What did it say, Harosh?
Haroshna. The second word after.
Hara. Rishona, from the word Rishon.
First.
It's related to the word Rosh,
first.
like Rosh Chodesh, the head. So Rishona means the first. The first strike, the initial attack was approximately 20 men. Approximately, somewhere 19, 21. Now, how far was the distance? Was it all in one place? Ke bechatzi ma'aneh Semed Sadeh. Now that's a distance made of 4 words. Sadeh means a field. So there's a field. Semed is a pair. P-A-I-R.
Okay.
Right?
Samed.
Semed is a pair. Ma'ana.
Camp.
No. Ma'ana means a furrow.
What?
A furrow. F-U-R-R-O-W. What you plow in a field is a furrow. Okay? Now, chatzi means half. So, bachatzi means in half. Kebachatzi, approximately in the length of half of a furrow plowed by a pair of oxen in a field. I think that's what it's trying to say. Now, in English, there's a distance called a furlong. Now, you've probably never heard it. It's used in horse racing, right? When there's 20 furlongs to go, and there's 15 furlongs to go, and they're coming up to the finishing line, and there's 2 furlongs to go. So a furlong is the length of a plowed field. So you don't use these terms anymore because we don't have cows to plow. Right? We talk about yards and feet and that sort of stuff, right? But they're all based on human measurements, fingers. Okay, so there was a distance called a furlong. That's usually it's a furrow. That's what I'm talking about. So it was half a furlong. In that, I don't know how long it is. If you look in your Google, how long a furlong is, it's probably about 20, 30 feet, right? It means how long the cows plow before they turn back in the other direction.
That's fine.
Okay, so that's what he's saying. It's half a furlong. In that distance, he managed to kill 20 people.
Oh,
That's
I thought it meant how far they were from the Jewish camp.
No, that's how long they were from where they started the fight. Okay, that's the initial start of what he's saying. What's the
First strike.
The first strike, the word for when you shoot it with you start a fight with a gunshot, right? The first,
the flare? It's not a flare, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that's how they started this battle. Then what happened? Vatihi, and it was, but it means she,
Starting up.
right? Who was Charoda? What's a Charoda? You know the word?
Years furlong is 220 yards.
220 yards. Okay, so there's 110 yards if it's half a furlong. And why is it called a furlong? What does it say?
A furlong originated in medieval England as an agricultural measurement representing the distance a team of oxen would plow without resting.
Exactly, it's a team. See, a team of plow.
Yeah.
Semed, a team of plow.
How much
Team of
furlong
cows.
is it? It defined the length of an acre's furrow.
Wow. Okay. So it's ancient. Didn't come from England. It came from the Tanach. The English read the Tanach.
9th century England.
Yeah. Which you was over here, right? Okay.
On from
No, because it could be a single animal would plow less. The two can plow longer. That's why you have to talk about double. It doesn't actually mention the cows, right? But that's what you understood what it means. Okay. All right. So that's the distance that was used. Now, charoda, you know the word charoda, you know the word charedi.
Or shaking.
Right. So a charoda means to tremble or to shake, right? So a charoda means a quake. It means it doesn't mean there was an earthquake, but it means there was a great trembling. B'machane, in the camp. That means in the field. Something which we don't know what it is suddenly started to tremble. That wasn't because 20 soldiers have been killed. Unless they said, what's happening, right? And they all panicked. Yeah? We'll see, we'll see. Maybe that's what it was, right? They just didn't know what happened. All of a sudden this guy's dead, right? But the Plishtim, right? Although if you look around, you see there's just 2 Jews here. It's not like a big thing to be scared of. We'll just get a whole group of Philistines together and we'll beat them to bits. But it's not what happened. There was a dread or a frightening or a trembling, b'machane, in the field, in the machane, basada, in the field, ubechal ha'am hamatzav, and all the people of this army base. Now this looks like something miraculous, because you can't really explain that, or it caught on very quickly. This group of soldiers suddenly started to panic, and then when this group panicked, the people out in the field panicked, and the whole camp panicked. In actual fact, there was nothing to panic about. There was just these two blokes who started off. So it could happen. It would be in the dark. It would be more reason. There's no reason to think this was in the dark. No, it looked like it was in the day. But even still, without knowing why, the people all panicked. So it started off with the people in the Machaneh. It went on to the Sadeh, which is further away, I suppose. All the people who were in that army base. The Mashchis, even the Mashchis. Now the Mashchis is even interesting. The Mashchis was described as already have left the camp. Remember the Mashchis? They were the destroyers, and we said they left in 3 groups to surround the Jews. Right. And even they suddenly are taken over by this terrible, shaking, dread, scary feeling. That's why it says, whenever we say something also, it means you wouldn't have thought it would spread to there. Okay, so we're related. It wasn't just the soldiers here. They weren't even here yet. And they all of a sudden started to be scared of something.
Which is quite reasonable.
Well, which is much more miraculous, right? It sounds like, and the point is, I think the point is like this: once Jonas and his armor bearer done their bit of hishtadlus, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu took over. If we don't do anything, I told you that story with Avigdor Kalani on the Golan Heights, right? What? So, yeah, this camp tank commander had 4 tanks, and they were ready to run away from these 200 Syrian tanks. When he said, "I'm going in," right? He did his bit, then I go, you did your bit? Okay, now I'll do my bit. I'll take over now. That's what it seems like. That's what happened over here. Gam Hema, they also, even the Mashkis who weren't part of the army at all anymore because they left. I mean, they left to attack, but they weren't part of this garrison. Right, Tirgaz Haaretz, and the whole ground, not literally the ground, but as if the whole ground, it probably means to shake, although the word rogez really means to get angry.
Why couldn't there have been an earthquake?
It could have been.
It's not that crazy.
It's not crazy, but it doesn't really add to the story to make an earthquake. But it could be. It doesn't mean that. It's just an expression, right? When you say the ground, it means the whole place shook from these hundreds. There was 500,000 soldiers suddenly panicking, right?
Quite reasonable.
What?
It's quite reasonable to suggest that it could be because they just saw 20 of their men dead, right?
20?
They were just going. They're like, hey, there's 20. There's 2 of them. There's hundreds of them.
No. I said it could be the initial stages. You could say that, but the question is, how did it spread to all the people who weren't even there? Yeah. They gave the message. They said, panic.
Just like Chinese missiles.
Okay, could be. But then it says, Vatihi, and it was Lecherdas Elokim, which literally means a godly dread. So that looked like it's being inspired by God. Or it could just mean they were scared of God. Or they thought that God had made their soldiers die. Or it could mean that God interfered and he was the one who caused this dread. Anyway, either way you just read the story, the whole Philistine camp has panicked.
Mm-hmm.
What was Hema?
Hema, they. Haim is they. Hema, I think, is just a longer version of the same. I don't know if it really means anything. Okay. All right, that's the end of the story from here. Now we go to the camp. Vayiru Hatzofim. Now see if you remember the word Tzofim. Tzofim?
Scouts.
Scouts, very good. You know that from your Ivrit?
I know that from when I was a kid in the Jewish sleepaway camp. We had the Israeli tzofim.
You had scouts. there.
Yeah.
Tzofim are scouts.
What's it without the im? Oh no, it's always plural.
Right? Tzofer would be a scout. Tzofim is scouts. So the scouts, Vayiru means they saw. So the scouts, the lookouts in Shaul's camp saw what was happening from the distance. They have no idea why. This is all they saw. Can you imagine from the distance, like half a mile away or a mile away, they can see this massive camp of soldiers suddenly running in every direction.
They were fleeing.
They're literally.
Yeah. But they had no idea why, because none of them had attacked,
Right.
as far as they knew.
Right.
Vayiru hatzofim le Shaul. The scouts of Shaul saw. The le here means belonging to. Vayiru hatzofim le Shaul. Doesn't mean they showed to Shaul. No, they saw. They saw who saw the Shaul's scouts. Begivas Binyamin. They were in Geva in the tribe of Binyamin. That's where they were. Hine, all of a sudden, Hine means behold. Hehamon, the multitude. Hamon means lots and lots. So in English, you say the multitude of enemy soldiers. Namog was, I think it means to dissolve.
They dissolved their army.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It means the when sugar dissolves in water, so it disappears altogether. But when a person's resolve dissolves, it means that they're not standing there, everyone in formation, ready to fight.
like-
It means they're right. Yeah. As a result of their feelings of courage dissolving, they go away. Vayelech, and it went, or it means the enemy went. I'm saying the singular. Vehalom. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, I do think it. I think I know what it means. Vehalom. Anyone got a Tanach with a translation? No, that's a Chumash.
Well, that's
Is there enough over there?
Bless you, sir.
Why am I sneezing so much?
Vehalom. I think that also really means a noise. I think we had it when the virus smashes somebody's head with a hammer. We use the same. No, the noise of the pounding of horses. That word is used.
Done.
That's what it says.
We don't even need the book anymore. We got.
Let's see. What is it?
No, check.
Shmuel Aleph, chapter. Is it 13?
Like they were shocked, like they were traumatized.
What do you got? Google or
Let's just
Google
say.
Translate?
You translate Safari.
Yeah, sometimes it gives you wrong. I've had that happen.
Check it. Source of the approaching
Days.
them.
Lahalim, to strike to thee.
Right, so that's why I said it's a strike with, like when horses bang their feet on the ground. You use that word. When what's the name? Yael
Dazed and confused.
smashed the head of Sisera. She did it with a hammer. That word is used as well. But they translate it completely differently. They translate it here as approaching them. Then a great terror took hold in the camp in the field. The very ground trembled, and a God-inspired terror was over. Sentries sent. Behold, the multitude of it was scattering and approaching them.
What does it say for Lahalim?
Namog is scattering, and Vayelech v'halom. No, they're translating it all as one thing. Vayelech v'halom means, and they were approaching them.
Or to them.
Approaching them.
The Jews are approaching the Christian. They're fleeing.
No, I think the Jews weren't doing anything. They were just watching. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it comes from a completely different root. It means approaching them. It's like when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe to take his shoes off at the burning bush, and he tells him not to come here. He uses that word halom. So that in that sense, it's related to come here. It's like two words together. But I thought it was like Sephariah, that it means to make the bank. right? Like used in the sense of Yael. And what does it say? That they were just making a noise? Vayelech balom.
Shocked or traumatized, and also
Traumatized.
so
Okay.
struck
Okay.
or dazed.
Dazed. Vayelech balom. Okay.
See-
So according to that, it means
see-
they're becoming more and more confused, the enemy that is scattering. Vayomer Shaul la'am. Shaul said to the people, Ashavita who were with him, Pikdu. Pikdu means count. It can mean other things as well. To remember, to a point. Here it means to count. Pikdu, like Vayakel Pekude. Right? In 3 weeks' time is the parasha this week. Teruma, Tetzave Kisisa, Vayakel Pekude. Forward. Pekude means
two people
right?
missing. I realize what
Right,
happened.
Peku's Pekude means there's the countings of the Mishkan. So count na means please count. Ura'u and see. Mi halach me'imanu. Who has gone away from us? This didn't just happen on its own. God could have made it happen on its own, but more likely, Shaul thinks that somebody did this. Somebody caused it. Who's gone? Yifkedu, and they counted. Vehine, and behold, Ein Yonasan, the Noite Caleb. Yonasan and his armor bearer were missing. So up to then, no one had noticed.
How does Shaul not notice that his second in command is missing?
Well, it depends where the second man was supposed to be. Understand? If the second man was sitting next to him, he would have noticed. But if he's gone off to Daven Mincha or Ma'ariv or saying Tehillim in the corner, so nobody noticed he wasn't there. They weren't actually fighting yet. Right?
So they were just.
They were chilling underneath the pomegranate tree, remember? Where it was before?
Yeah.
And they were waiting. And what's they supposed to do? Start up with about 500,000 Philistines. What are they supposed to do? So Yonasan said, let's go and see. We'll go and see. And then he said, let's go and attack.
Yeah.
And then Shaul noticed that they were missing. Okay. Shaul said to Achia, now we know why who was Achia?
Ibukod's thing.
Who?
It was the Christian name. Was the
Achia
Christian-
ben Ichmot.
Ikavod.
Kohen Gadol.
Ikavod's nephew. Yes. Achia was Ikavod's nephew, and he was the Kohen Gadol. Achia was the Kohen Gadol at the time of this story, the high priest. And Shaul said to Achia, Hagisha. Hagisha means Vayigash. The name of one of the parashas, the weekly sedras. Vayigash Vayechi. Approach. Very good. Vayigash. So the hay at the beginning. What? Yeah, but the hay at the beginning means causative. It's what we call hifil, to make somebody else come close. So it means to bring something else. Like geshet is to become close. Lehagish means to bring something else close. The hagisha, bring close Aron HaElokim, the Ark of God. Now this is interesting. We didn't know the Ark of God was there till this point. Where the Ark of God was meant to be in Kiryat Yearim. As far as we know, the Ark, which was recaptured from the Philistines, or returned by the Philistines, better, more accurate, was then taken from Beit Shemesh to Kiryat Yearim, and there it was for 20 years in a tent, or in somebody's house, in Kiryat Yearim, and King David took it to Yerushalayim and put it into a tent in Yerushalayim. And then many years later, it was taken to the temple, which was built by King Solomon. But you see from this story that when they needed the ark, they took it out from where it was and took it with them.
Rabbi,
Okay, yeah.
why would, I've seen a few examples of so far in Sefer Shmuel where they took the ark, brought it with them to battle, and at one point in the beginning of Sefer Shmuel it was captured by our enemies for almost for half a year.
Right.
Why did we take out the ark?
Beautiful question. Well, I think the way to ask the question is they already knew that it was a mistake to take the ark out to
Also,
battle.
they only have 600 people versus, I'm saying...
Well, they didn't have 600 at the beginning. They only got 600 left.
Right, so
Like they
you
started off
would-
with 300,000.
Yeah.
Right? And they've all scattered and left them. And now they're just so... You want to know why did they take the ark out to battle when it was wrong? How do you know it was wrong? Because the first time they took the ark out to battle, it was captured by the Philistines.
So that was the very first time they ever did that?
I don't know. Wasn't that your assumption in the question?
No, my assumption, the question is, why do they do it at all? Because it feels...
Why they learn their lesson.
If they always did it, then that was the right thing to do. What's your question? It seems to be a bad thing to take it to
Well,
battle?
the fact that they need to bring a physical manifestation of God with them to help them win battle, Like,
One second. One second. Well, I've got another question. Why does God have a physical manifestation of Himself in the Holy of Holies?
Oh, no, true.
Right?
The Ark
So
of
yes, there
Manifestation.
are. No, I'm saying even if it is, that's a question. It's a good question, and it's one of the problems the Goyim have with Judaism. Why do we have idols in the Holy of Holies?
Yeah.
An idol of a boy, an idol of a girl, kissing each other, almost embracing. Why do we have that? And the Goyim make fun of us. We do that because,
It represents our relationship between us and Hashem.
well, that's not the reason why we do it. No,
Okay.
because Hashem told us to. Now, you want to know why did Hashem tell us to do it? Maybe what you're saying is the right answer. But the real answer why we do it is because God told us, right? And that's why in Parshas Pekudei it says the words Kashetziva Hashem es Moshe 19 times, as God commanded Moses. At every juncture it says He did it as God commanded Moses. Because basically, there's not much of a difference between the Holy Ark and the golden calf.
But were they instructed?
They're golden images that are meant to connect us to God. The
Yeah,
only
but they're
difference is one was commanded to do, one was commanded not to do.
Right.
That's the difference, right?
Quite a big
Yeah.
difference there.
Yes, but that's the difference. That's the point. What God tells you to do is okay. What He tells you not to do is not okay. So that's why we have the thing in up. No, once God tells us to do that, it's not unreasonable that we take that out with us to battle because we believe that God's fighting for us. But I thought the question was like this. It would seem that they didn't usually take the ark out to battle, because when they did take out the ark to battle, the Philistines says, "Oh, we're in trouble now," right? Well, they'd never seen the ark, they'd never fought the Jews before. No, it looks like this was the first time it was taken to battle, and that's the reason why it was captured, because it was a mistake to take it out to battle. So now your question is, why they bring it again to battle? So, and it's a very good question, Rabbi Bar. Yeah, but that's just a guess. It doesn't say they were told to.
That's wrong with that.
So I don't know. So that would be it's unlikely. If it's wrong, it's unlikely that God told them to do it unless He told them to do it. And it doesn't say He told them to do it. So Rashi has an approach. Not Rashi's asking a question here, but Rashi believes, and you look in this week's Parasha, actually Parasha Truma, that there were two arks.
There were two Aron Kodeshes.
You see, if you look in Parasha's Truma, right? In Parasha's Kisisa, God says to Moshe, come up for the tablets. So, write yourself a second load of tablets and place it in the ark. But they didn't build the ark till they built the Mishkan, which was a long time after Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai. What did he do with the tablets until they built the ark? Right? So Rashi says, again, when we say Rashi, we don't mean Rashi made this up. It's just that's how I got it, because I saw it in Rashi. So Rashi's quoting a Chazal. I know it's a big debate in Chazal, but Rashi brings the opinion that there were two arks. One built by Moshe, and one built by
What's the other one?
Betzalel.
Betzalel.
Betzalel who built the Mishkan. One was the golden ark, and in one they kept the broken tablets, and one they kept the whole tablets. Because there were two sets of tablets, right? One that Moshe Rabbeinu broke when he came down from Har Sinai after the 40 days when he we saw them serving their golden calf, and one we got a second set of tablets. One, now I can't remember which it is, one they used to take out to war with them, and the other one stayed in the Holy of Holies. The chiddush, the novelty of the story with the Pelishtim who captured the ark was they took the other ark. The ark that usually stayed in the Holy of Holies, that was the one they took out with them. That was their mistake, and that was why the Philistines were suddenly terrified, because this was the golden ark with the cherubs on it, and this was very much more impressive than the usual ark which kept I would imagine the broken ones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I imagine. I'm not convinced. I just don't remember, because you would think the broken ones are less significant.
Right.
But Hashem
But
made those
see, exactly, since Hashem made those, as opposed to the whole ones which Moshe Rabbeinu made himself, so it could be the other way around. They're more holy. I don't know. Anyway, either way, that's the brief summary of there is an opinion there was only one ark, but according to that, it's very good. So that was the mistake. And here they brought the other ark, right? But that was also significant. Even the second one was also significant. But didn't usually come out. This was the one that usually came out to battle with them. So that would answer your question, right?
Yeah.
According to the opinion, there was only one ark, and it's a bit problematic. Why would they bring it out? My guess could have been that they didn't take out to battle with them. But this is not called taking out to battle. It means they used to stay back together with the kitchens and all that.
Even so, they're in a very long
Yeah,
position.
well, if they're going to get massacred, the ark's going to get stolen again by these Philistines.
Yeah.
Although they've learned the lesson, haven't they?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's okay to take it now. Not take it second time.
Because there's no risk.
That would also answer the question, but I don't think so. Okay, so Ki haya ha'aron elokim. Now the author has to tell you what's the ark doing there. You didn't mention the ark was there, so he tells you because it was there. They didn't have to go and get it from Kiryat Yearim. No, it was with them. Ki haya aron ha'elokim bayomahu uvnei Yisrael. The ark on that day, ark of God on that day, was with the children of Israel. Actually, you have to read it. It doesn't say in, but how else can you read it? On that day, the ark was and the children of Israel. It means it was together with the children of Israel. It means they had it. It wasn't by the Philistines. It wasn't Kiryat. They had it. Okay. Why is that important? Because Shaul said to Achia, "Bring the ark."
Close.
What for? Well, it doesn't say what he did it for, but it would seem from the story he wanted to ask the Kohen Gadol for advice. Should we attack? Is this panic of the Philistines being induced by God, and it's a sign that it's time for us to take the advantage and to attack, or in 5 minutes' time that maybe they're just acting out? They're pretending to panic, and then they're going 2 minutes' time they're all going to get back together and surround us and get us all, right?
Yeah, Shmuel.
Well,
Shmuel's with them now.
do we know that Shmuel is with them?
He was with them at some point.
Not sure. Look at the pasuk. It says, I think Shmuel could have left them.
Does it mention him?
I'll tell you what it was. Pasuk Tezvav on page 34. Shmuel got up, and he went up from Gilgal to Gibeas Binyamin, and Shaul counted the people. So that looks like correct. Where were the Shaul? In Gibeas Binyamin. That's where the scouts were. Just said that. So Shmuel could have been there. So you could have just asked Shmuel. And you think that if you ask a Navi, he'll tell you the answer straight away. I don't know. This is just another way of asking Hashem, right? You ask the Urim and Tumim. I don't know why you need the ark. You just ask the Kohen, he's wearing the thing, you're asking the question. But I suppose if he's supposed to be standing in front of the ark. That's what, if you look, I've seen pictures of it. I mean, not photos. I've seen drawings of it, of the way you would ask the question. It was to open up the door of the Holy of Holies, and the Kohen Gadol will stand in front of the ark. The king would stand behind him, and the king would ask the Kohen Gadol his question, whatever it was, should we go out to war? And the answer would light up. So that's probably what he's doing over here. Bring the ark, or go in front of the ark, and then we'll ask the question. Why they don't ask Shmuel, I don't know. Okay, so that's what, yeah?
Hashem would speak through the Kohen Gadol.
Correct.
That's how it works.
Yes. That's what, also you can ask the priest. But it could be that Shaul is maybe concerned that Shmuel is upset with him.
Why?
And they want, why? Shmuel has just said, because you made that terrible mistake, you've lost your melucha. So it could be that he feels that although Shmuel's there, he may not answer his question, may not be able to answer his question. He may not be a good conduit for the divine answer. Maybe. I'm not just guessing that. You'll see later on why I have reason to believe that. Okay? But could be.
Okay.
But he thinks, okay, so I'll try the ark and see if the ark. But and the ark of the Kohen Gadol. Okay? But it was ad diber Shaul el hakohen. Ad means until, or here it means whilst. Whilst Shaul was speaking to the Kohen, the hamon asher b'machane Pelishtim, the multitude which in the camp of the Pelishtim, vayelech haloch varav, meaning they were continuously going more, meaning the state of panic and confusion was getting more and more. So it was obvious that this wasn't a temporary thing. This was clear that this was a real state of panic and wasn't some sort of plot to catch them. So what did he do? And again, there's a pay here in the middle, I don't know why, right? Shaul said, El HaKohen, to the priest, Esof Yadecha. Esof.
So it's Ein Sof.
So sof means end, right? So you think means like
End.
End or
The end
air
or-
or and?
what is the aleph with the segel at the beginning? So you think it's like Eshmar, I will guard, right? Then it would be Esof, I will end your hand. It could mean that, right?
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't mean that. No, the aleph here is a root letter. It's not a prefix like Eshmor, where the aleph is added to mean I. It's in the word Asaf.
Oh, we had that.
Asaf. We didn't have it before.
And on?
No, not really. Sof means end. Lehosif means to add on. Le'esof doesn't mean either of them. Aleph Samach Peh. You know who used this word? When Rachel had a baby, he said, Asaf Hashem et cherpati. God has gathered in my shame. Means up till now, when I walked down the street, I was embarrassed because I was the only one walking down the street without a pram. What do you call it, Americans?
Stroller.
A stroller, right? And now I can proudly walk down the street with my stroller too. So I'm not embarrassed. So he's taken away. He's gathered in. Sukkot is called Chag HaAsif, the festival of ingathering. When you bring things which are outside, inside. So my embarrassment was on the outside, and now it's being gathered in. So Esof Yadecha means bring your hands in. Me, it's an expression meaning I don't need your services anymore. I asked you to bring the ark and explain to me whether we should go and fight, but I don't need it anymore. You can take
Because
it.
he already sees what.
I can see it's clear. I don't need to ask it. You don't ask Hashem things when the answer is obvious. Okay, it's obvious that it's time to fight, and we should do that. Don't have to ask Hashem anymore because it's clear.
So in that case, it was okay to take a sign. It was okay to take the sign.
That wasn't asking
yes,
for
it
a
wasn't really a
sign.
sign. It was like, like you say, it wasn't the girl that came in a pink dress. Oh, she's obviously the right one for me. If the enemy's running away, it's time to fight them. That's a sign from God. It doesn't need to be a sign. It's much more than a sign. Exactly what I need to happen is happening. So now it's time to go. Right? Okay. Vayizo'ek Shaul. So we've had this verse many times. Za'aka is to cry. Okay? But it doesn't mean Shaul. Now, this Vayizo'ek is the hifil of to cry. Means to be caused to cry. Now, to be caused to cry doesn't really make any sense. What it means is to be mustard. Not what you put on your sausages. No. Mustard, ED at the end.
You mustered up the courage.
Right.
You mustered your men.
Right. So it means when you pass out an order, where there's somebody, sergeant major with his loud voices, right, gives a message, everyone, right, to come to get to fight. So all the people who react to that cry have been the verb from cried, which is vayizoak, right? Which in English you say they were mustered, right? But it's actually a hifil word. Vayizoak Shaul and all the people were mustered, and they all decided to fight. Actually, all the people actually were with him. Vayavoyu, and they came ad hamilchama, to the war. Meaning there was already a war going on between Yonasan and his armor bearer and these 500,000 Philistines who run away. So they came to the battle. Behine, behold, Hoisa, there was Cherev Ish Bereyehu. Cherev is sword. Ish Bereyehu, one man against his friends. I mean, the Philistines had panicked to the point they were so confused they were killing each other. Get it? When you're confused and you get mixed up between the Jews, right? They're confused, and then they were killing each other. So there was Mehuma Gedola Ma'od. There was a big confusion. Mehuma is a Gedola, big Ma'od, a very great confusion. So when it says Shaul and his men came to the war, it could simply mean there was a war between one group of Philistines against the other group of Philistines, right? There could have been different brigades, of course. Oh, he's got, a red cap. Oh, that means he's Jewish, right? It doesn't. It means he's from the other thing that you're not used to because they're not the, right? It's not so difficult to see how people fight against each other.
No.
You think all Philistines, they look like Philistines, don't they? No, Philistines look different to Jews. What, they used to shave their beards? No. They didn't wear strimals. The Jews didn't wear the strimals out to battle either. And they didn't have tefillin on. Okay, they didn't notice that they didn't know Jews wear tefillin in battle, right? You know the Jews wear tefillin in battle. Maybe all the Philistines were trained, wasn't part of their training manual. Where, if you see the guy without tefillin, it means he's got a stomachache. No, it means he's not Jewish, right? You know what I mean? So how do you spot? It's not so easy.
There's so many kids there.
You know,
Yeah. And you see from their uniforms, you assume they had uniforms. How do you tell? You know? So anyway, especially if
There's
you
like a million brigades, and it's not just one like.
right, there's different legions, and each legion's got their own colour.
And
Right?
that's-
I remember once
that's-
getting on an Arab bus. I thought it was an Egged, I thought it was a Dan bus. You know Dan?
Yeah.
Dan is the company in Tel Aviv. Now their buses were blue and white. Okay? And Egged was red and white, going back 45 years. Right? Maybe longer than that, yeah? And I thought it was a Dan bus. Because the Dan buses used to come to Yerushalayim. The buses that came from Yerushalayim to Bnei Barak and to Tel Aviv, so the Dan buses used to come and then they would go that, right? So I thought it was just a Tel Aviv bus that was here. It was an Arab bus. Why? Because all the Arab buses are blue and white too. So I got into an Arab bus by mistake. Of course, I was in Shashem. I should have realized, why is there a Dan bus at Shashem? Because it was an Arab bus. But anyway, I got.
Also, there's different races that make up.
Right, exactly. Maybe some that look more Sephardi, some Ashkenazis. So you could tell he's Sephardi. I thought he was an Arab. He looks Sephardi. You know what I mean? Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't be the same without a little
Racism.
Sephardi joke.
What did
That's what I said about Ben Gurion. He
What?
didn't like the Arabs because it reminded him of
It's
Sephardi.
Sephardi, yeah.
I thought that was Ben
Someone
Yehuda.
said
Was
that.
Ben Yehuda?
I thought it was Ben
Ah,
Yehuda.
it was more Matim.
Yeah, it was somebody.
Anyway, so I hear that's a good point. Yeah. And how do we have such good spies, right? Because they can't. They're between a Syrian Goy and a Syrian Jew. They all look Syrians, and therefore we have. It's like Eli Cohen, right? You know, he almost became prime minister of Syria. Why? Because he looks as a Syrian, right? It's not a big deal. Okay, good. All right, thank you. That was a good line. Good. All right, so they're panicking, killing each other, and Shaul comes along. Great, we can just leave them to let them do the work, right? It's not what they did.
Ivrim.
Ivrim. Oh, we're back to these Ivrim. Who are the Ivrim? So we don't know. We just know they're a group of Jews distinct from the rest of the Jews. Although we call them Ivrim, and Ivrim sounds like Hebrews, which sounds like Jews, but they keep being pointed out as a separate group. And it says here, it gives away, Hayu la Pelishtim, Ke'esmael Shilsham. They were to the Philistines as of yesterday and the day before.
But no longer.
Well, let's see. So here's an indication of who Ivrim are. They're people who, for some reason, have sided with the Philistines. Maybe by will, maybe they're collaborators, maybe by force, maybe they're paid. I've no idea. But it says over here, now we know who they are. The Ivrim are people who were to the Philistines, means part of the Philistine camp. Esmal is like yesterday, it means of yesterday, in the past. They would be in there. Shilsham is from the word 3, but it means the day before. Asher Alu, who went up, Imam with them, Bamachaneh, in the camp, Saviv, around. So they didn't do the fighting. Philistines didn't trust Jews to fight for them, but they did the cooking, and they did the potato peeling, and they did all the around the auxiliary help that was needed for their armies. Saviv. V'gam hema liyois im Yisrael. And also they became with the Jews. So as soon as they saw what was happening, even those diehards who had, or had no choice, whatever it is, who had stayed with the Philistines, these Jews now, they used the opportunity to rejoin the Jews. V'gam hema liyois im Yisrael, Hashem, Shaul, v'Yonasan, who with Shaul and Yonasan. So now they've joined their ranks too. Also those Jews who at first had some reason collaborated with the Philistines.
And also Jonason's back.
Well, yes and no. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't think Shaul has found him yet, but...
Why not?
Well, because there's a lot of confusion there, right? This is a big army camp, so he's somewhere, right? So some of them join Yonasan, some of them join Shaul. Right? V'chal Ish Yisrael, and all the men of Israel, Hamitchabim. And remember that word? Read it many times. Come on, it's a game that people play.
Oh.
Come on.
Wait. Hide and seek.
Hide and seek, right? Mitchabim, who were hiding, who had hid themselves, right? Because the Tov is reflexive. All what we totally find they hid it in caves and under rocks and in thorn bushes, and wherever Jews could hide, they were hiding from these Philistines. So they also came out of hiding. Now, I don't know how the news spread so quickly. They didn't have WhatsApp in those days, right? I think. But they may have had smoke signals. They may have had other ways of sending messages very, very quickly. I don't know. Yeah. But they joined in the foray, I think is the right word. They also heard about this, and they also came to join in. So the Jews who had been in the Philistines, we call them Ivrim. The Jews who had stayed on our side are called, again, the reason why we call them Ivrim is because it's the derogatory term that Philistines call them. So we use that word because that's what they're known as. They're known as Ivrim by the Philistines. I mean, we're all known as Ivrim, but they're the ones who Philistines have a relationship with them, so they're known as Ivrim, the Jews who had sided with the Philistines. But the Jews who had stayed but had hidden, right? Behar Ephraim, in the mountains of Ephraim. Now that's quite away from here. We're in the tribe of Binyamin, and Ephraim is north of Binyamin. So to me, it would have looked like it would at least be 5-6 hours ride. But it's possible, we mentioned this once first, that Har Ephraim is a mountain range, not necessarily all of it is in the tribe of Ephraim. Could in most of it's like the backbone of Israel, right? So most of it is in the tribe of Ephraim. So it's just the name of a mountain range. Possibly the southern part of this mountain range is in Binyamin and is closer to this battleground. Shamu, they also heard, Ki Nosu Pelishtim, that the Philistines had Nosu.
No?
What?
Left?
Miracle.
Left, not miracle, no. It's not the word nes. Nosu means to
Travel.
flee. No, Nosu to travel is with an ayin. Like he bin soyo ha'aram, that's nun samachan. This is nos, right? Ha'am ra'ah. Right. Right. So hayom ra'ah vayonos. The sea saw, and we sang it today in Hallel. It says so in time. Right? Hayam Ra'ah, the sea saw and it fled. As it's describing rightly, the sea ran away from us and then when it split. Okay? When Yosef was almost seduced and gave in to the Potiphar's wife, and he saw and she grabbed hold of him, and he fled, he ran away. So Nosu means to flee. When everyone saw that the Philistines had fled, Vayadbeku gam hema achareim. Yadbeku from which word?
Hand. No. Hand.
Why? No. Yad would be from hand. But probably the yud is a prefix. The vav is hand. Yud means he. The vav at end makes the yud into they. So what's the root?
Cry.
Daled, base, kuf. Why should that be cry? Come on.
Two.
Cry.
What was fine.
No, that's Zayin Ayin Kuf. The only common denominator is the Kuf. Not bad, try. Come on. Try putting different vowels. Daled, base, Kuf.
Dabek.
No.
Up there.
Devek.
Oh, connection.
Correct. Dveikus.
Dveikus.
Dveikus, right? Connected to God, right? Rabbi Inian, they think spoke about it yesterday. Ava, Yira, Simcha, Dveikus, right? Dveikus means when you stuck to God.
Cleave.
Devek, to cleave, right? Cleave. So Devek is glue. So Vayadbeku, and they stuck, or they joined. Gam Hemoth, also they also joined in the fight.
Church is a hub, right?
I hear the two-lettered connection, but there's no real connection between a Dalet and a Ches.
Right.
They're not usually interchangeable. Some people believe you don't need 3 letters roots to be common. In 2 letters is enough. But don't know. Gam Hema also they Achareim after means they followed and joined on. They joined that is stuck to them. Bamilchama in the war. So we've got 3 groups, or 4 groups. We've Yonasan his armor bearer, Shaul 600 troops. The Ivrim now turned sides when they saw that the tide was against the Philistines, or they now had a chance to escape from the Philistines. It depends exactly how you see what they were. And now we've got the people hiding in Har Ephraim, and
So they
they're
have
coming out.
even more than they started with.
What?
They have more than they started with. Even more than the
Oh, yes.
30,000.
Well, I don't know how many. I have no idea.
You don't know how
I
many.
mean, did the whole army now join them? Don't know. Doesn't say. Vayoisha Hashem Bayoy Mahu Es Yisrael. Now that's plagiarized from somewhere else.
That's right.
Right, just before we sing the Shira in the morning, Az Yashir, we say Vayoisha Hashem Bayoy Mashu, and God saved. This was clearly miraculous. There's no question they didn't stand a chance. It was impossible. 99 point. It was 100%. futile, the whole war. They had at least 500,000 Philistine troops to fight. There's just two of them, and they only had two weapons, one sword and one javelin, or maybe two swords, and the rest had pitchforks and hammers, and that's all they had to fight with. And they defeated them because it was clear. I mean, the only one who actually did anything really natural was Yonasan and his armor bearer, who did his kung fu on these guys and killed 20 of them. And then the rest just panicked and fled, and then they were chased, and they killed each other, and they were chased by the Jews. So God saved the Jewish people on that day. And the war, or the battle better, the battle of Ra passed. That means it didn't stay there. The Philistines were fleeing, and the Jews chased after them and killed them in pursuit. As base oven, name of the place. I don't know if the name of the place got anything to do with it. Okay. All right. The Aish Yisrael Nigas Hayomahu. The men of Israel, or the man of Israel, right? Probably just a collective word for the Jewish people. Nigas. We had that word beforehand, that it means to take a bite out of. Remember?
Yeah.
When the
Those
Philistines had
took a bite
attacked
out
and they
of.
took a bite out of them. No, guess means to take a bite out of, but it doesn't literally that somebody. It doesn't mean some dog came and bit them, but that was their feeling, that they were already attacked on that day. So because they were under this pressure of losing the battle, right? I mean, at least from the beginning as they went out. So they did as follows. Yoel Shaul es ha'am lemor. Shaul swore the people, saying. Now, to swear someone means to put somebody else under oath. You can swear yourself, put yourself under oath, but you can put somebody else under oath. It's not so easy to put somebody else under oath because the guy can just say, "Get out of here and leave me alone," right? If he's your king, right, then he apparently can do that. Right? Mm-hmm. Or you can agree to be under oath. I say, if you want to live in my house, you must agree under oath that you will not go into my fridge. Right? Or, for example, when Moshe Rabbeinu joined Yisro's family, this word is used. It says, "Vayoel Moshe Lasheves es Aish." Moshe agreed to stay with Yisro. So Rashi Chazal say, why doesn't it just say agree? There's another word in Hebrew to agree. It's lahaskim. Vayoel means to agree under oath. Yisro said, you can be a member of my household, which means you can marry my daughter. But I put you under oath that your first child you will dedicate to Avodah Zarah. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Wow, shocking, isn't it? And Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have much choice but to agree because he wanted to marry this girl. And her father wouldn't agree unless Moshe Rabbeinu agreed.
Wasn't it he knew that he knew
this is
that
after he worked.
Well, the truth is you don't have to keep an oath like that, right? But
But it's not.
you know,
it's not.
you don't have to make an oath to violate. You can't make an oath to violate the Torah. But that's what Moshe Rabbeinu agreed, right?
I think Moshe knew that. What
But you know what?
Didn't Moshe knew that Yisro was like a man of truth and that he would eventually do Shiur, and that's why he.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never heard that. Maybe it's an actual explanation. I didn't know that. Good. Right. In the end, it seems to have had an effect. Because his grandson, the son of Gershom.
The one he saved from the wall? Or
No, that's somebody else. Yes, it's related to that story, but not him. His grandson called. Do we know his name?
I thought Gershom was only mentioned once, like when Yisro comes.
No, he's mentioned in Yeshua.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
He's mentioned in the book. So in the book of Shoftim, that there his grandson, Gershom's son, became a priest in a Beis Avodah Zarah, which was built by Micha, who was saved from Moshe Rabbeinu on the wall. That's the connection. But the guy who became the priest in this temple, which was obviously they felt it was some type of medium towards God, right? But it was a type of Avodah Zarah, was run by Moshe Rabbeinu's grandson. So it seems that agreement with the Yisrael had its effect, or its its ripple effect further down the line, not in in so extreme ways that Yisrael had intended, but it did just agreeing to that. Anyway, the word Yoel is used over there. It means there's a famous book called Vayoel Moshe. You know what that book is? Ever heard of it? You must have heard of it. Vayoel Moshe is a book by the Satmar Rebbe, right, where he elaborates on the 3 oaths that the Jewish people made. One of them being not to conquer Israel by force. That's what the book is about. His name is Yoel.
Isn't his name Yoel? Yeah.
His name is Yoel, right? So the name of the book is Vayoel Moshe, because it's an oath about those oaths, and that's how it's connected. Anyway, so Vayol over here means
That's why there's so many Yolis.
that's why because when he died, everyone born that year was called Yoel.
Wait, who made an oath not to conquer Israel by force?
The Jewish people.
When?
Check in Ksuva's page 111a. There's a whole discussion there. So this is the whole book
So
about.
that's why they don't live in Israel. You know, like, that's why
That's
they would
not
say-
accurate. That's why they
Yeah.
don't.
Serve in the army.
They don't.
or-
Well, yes, they don't encourage
Serving the
the
army
establishment of
would
the
be
state of Israel
Yeah.
or supporting it. There's some that serving the army's got much more problems than just that.
worse.
There's lots of people who do believe in the state of Israel who also don't serve in the army. So that's not.
The NK.
This time there's a lot more. Okay. Let's continue. Let's try not get slide. I knew that would happen just by saying the word of Yoel. So by Yoel, Shaul put them under oath. He put his people under oath. What oath? Lamar saying as far as Arur Aish, cursed shall be the man, Asher Yochal Lechem, who will eat bread. Now, usually that means to eat food, but literally it means to eat bread. It probably meant to eat anything. It's just a way of speaking. You know, when Avraham Avinu said to the angels or the guests who came to his house, "Come and I'll give you bread," he didn't just mean he's only giving them bread, right? He meant to give them a meal. That's how you say it in Hebrew. Rashi there says to eat bread means
Broke
a
bread.
meal, right? Okay. So he wanted them not to eat during the day of the battle. Why? It doesn't say over here, right? There could be several reasons you could suggest. Why would Shaul not want his men to eat? Don't you get hungry and then you can't fight properly? Focus. Okay, that could be. That means if you can eat, then you get distracted because you're supposed to be fighting. You all of a sudden come to a big fridge somewhere, right? There's loads of pizza there. So instead of fighting in the pizzas or the schnitzel, right? So therefore, he said no one's allowed to eat anything. Right? It could also be that it seems that there's a tradition. There's a Jewish tradition to fast on the day you go to battle because we believe that our battles are not won by strength, but they're won by connection with Hashem. So just like Moshe Rabbeinu had his hands up in the air and davening, so the Jews won. So the same things. You want to be connected to God. You don't want to focus on food because you want to be connected to God, like we do on Yom Kippur. So you want to be in that, spiritually rarefied atmosphere in order to win the battle. That's another possibility. That, by the way, is where Tanis Esther comes from. In 2 weeks, it's going to be Purim, right? Exactly 2 weeks today, it's going to be Purim. So the day before Purim, we have a tradition to fast, although it's very interesting, that fast is not mentioned anywhere in the Talmud.
On Purim?
The day before.
Before?
It's not mentioned in the Talmud, the fast of Esther.
Fast.
That's why it's one of the most lenient fasts.
What-
It's not mentioned in the Talmud.
What about in the cities that do it the day before?
Well,
Interesting question, very interesting. I presumed,
Very, very
well, the first time I came to Yerushalayim, that they do it on the day before their Purim, but they don't.
I mean,
The walled cities, everybody does it on the 13th.
Everybody
It's not the day before Purim. Everybody fasts on the 13th.
And that's just
And
like
then
doing
for the
like
in
that.
Yerushalayim, there's a break of 1 day where there's nothing,
short,
and then so in the non-walled cities, you read the Megillah at night time while you're still fasting, because the end of the fast goes into Purim. But in Yerushalayim, it's not like that. You fast on the 13th, then you have a break, and then that's in most places a big hurry to get home. Still fasting. That fast, entering that fast, is not mentioned anywhere. Not in Tanach, not in Chazal. It's mentioned in Allah. It's mentioned in Shulchan Aruch. It's a custom. We do it, but it's not mentioned in the Gemara. Not that I know the whole of the Gemara. I haven't learned all 2,700 pages, so I've been told. But it's not mentioned there. Now, where does it come from? Now, people confuse it rightly with the fast of Esther when she fasted, and the Jews fasted 3 days. But it sort of comes from there, but she was fasting almost a year before the story of Purim. Right? That means the lottery that Haman made was made on the 10th, or I think the 11th of Nisan. And then immediately following, they fasted for 3 days, which is the 12th, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, including Seder night.
Pesach, yeah.
Including the first night of Pesach,
What?
they fasted. Right? And that was a Kiddush, because how can you do such a thing? But that's what they felt. It was such a drastic situation. It was important. They fasted 3 days, including the night of Pesach. Now, to commemorate that fast, we also fast, but then we don't do it then. We do it just before Purim. We don't do 3 days of fast. So that's one of the reasons, right? That's why it's called the fast of Esther, because it relates to that fast that she fasted. Look, we can't fast on Pesach, right? So we do it then. But others say the reason why we fast is because the battle against the Goyim was on the 13th, the day before Purim. Purim commemorate is not the day we were supposed to be fighting. The day we rested was when you have Purim. The battle was on the 13th, and Jews, when they go out to battle, fast. So we're commemorating the battle. The Jews fought on the 13th and they fasted.
It's from dawn to dusk, right? It's not.
Yes, it's a day usually. It's the medium fast.
No, it is. It's
If you break it, did you do tshuva?
I don't have to ask a rabbi that.
You fast what time? Like it.
It's easy. It's not. It's not.
That's why I say whenever people ask me a question I don't know the answer to, I just say I have to ask a rabbi.
It's not. It's not.
You know what I mean? What I mean is no.